Welcome everyone to This Explainer. Today we're unpacking a genuinely fascinating, incredibly layered story from our ancient source texts, the union of Bhima and Hidimva. Now, right off the bat, I need to tell you, this is absolutely not your standard romance. It is an epic narrative that weaves together some brutal survival tactics, completely unexpected alliances, and, as you'll see by the end, the invisible hand of destiny. It's one of those stories where the lines between enemy and lover, and between mortal choices and divine orchestration, get incredibly blurry. So let's just jump right into it.
Okay, let's set the stage with this bizarre, insanely high-stakes opening scene. Picture this. The Pandav hero, Bhima, has quite literally just slain a terrifying Rakshasa. The adrenaline is pumping, the danger still feels immediate, right? And suddenly, the sister of the very monster he just killed walks up to him. Her name is Hidimva. But get this, she isn't looking for revenge. No way. Instead, she's looking at Bhima with sheer adoration and actually asks to marry him. I mean, what do you even do in that situation? The tension is off the charts, and it basically forces our heroes to make some incredibly rapid, totally unconventional decisions.
So, that brings us to Section 1, the Rakshasa's plea. Hidimva skips the small talk and goes straight to the leadership, to Bhima's mother, Kunti, and his eldest brother, Yudhishthira. And she's offering an unbelievable sacrifice here. She literally declares, "Casting off my friends and relations, and the usage of my race, I've chosen this son of thine as my husband." She is completely defecting. She admits she's been tortured by the pangs of love, just waiting for the right moment. And by doing this, she creates the ultimate fish-out-of-water dynamic. Think about it. She's a Rakshasa, throwing herself completely at the mercy of human royalty, basically threatening that if she is cast off, she won't even bear to live. But she also promises something huge, to rescue them from dangers, carry them across rough terrain, and be their protector.
But here's the really brilliant part. She doesn't just rely on emotion. She brings this incredible philosophical argument to the table. She says, distress is the greatest danger to virtue. Hidimva is essentially pointing out to Yudhishthira, who, as we know, is famously obsessed with virtue, that in times of profound distress, standard rules just don't apply. She argues that protecting your own life by any means necessary actually becomes the highest virtue. It's virtue that protects life, so virtue is the giver of life. It's a stunningly pragmatic argument that really challenges the rigid structures of the hero's entire worldview.
Moving on to Section 2, Duty, Danger, and Deals. The ball is now entirely in Yudhishthira's court. As the leader tasked with keeping his family alive in exile, he's got to process this highly unusual proposal.
And this forces him into some serious mental gymnastics. On one hand, traditional duty dictates that you eliminate the enemy threat completely, right? You slay the sister before she can use deceptive magic against you. And Bhima is initially enraged and ready to do exactly that. But on the other hand, Yudhishthira adopts a duty of survival. He tells Bhima, do not slay a woman. He actually buys into Hidimva's logic. Observing virtue is a higher duty than simply protecting life through violence. She's not a threat anymore. In fact, she's an asset.
But don't think Yudhishthira is just giving them a blank check. He's a pragmatic leader, so he sets up strict, almost legalistic terms and conditions for this whole arrangement. Step 1, Bhima has to wash himself, perform his prayers, and finish his propitiatory rites first. Step 2, only then can he, quote, sport with Hidimva during the day. And step 3, this is the absolutely critical security measure, she must bring Bhima back to the family camp every single day right at nightfall. So the key takeaway here is that this union is heavily regulated. It's an alliance built on strict, non-negotiable boundaries to ensure the family's safety.
And Bhima himself? Well, he adds a final, very specific addendum to this deal. He agrees to Yudhishthira's rules, but he tells Hidimva his own condition. He will stay with her only until a son is obtained. Once a child is born, the contract is over. Boom, done. It's a harsh, definitive end date, which really underscores that for Bhima, this is not some fairy tale romance. It's an alliance with a very specific biological and strategic objective.
All right, Section 3, an epic honeymoon. Hidimva literally says, so be it, and uses her magical abilities to assume an incredibly beautiful form.
And then she literally picks Bhima up and speeds through the skies. They embark on this ancient, globe-trotting adventure. The source text gives us this fast-paced tour of wildly diverse, lush landscapes. They hit up picturesque mountain peaks sacred to the gods, crystal pools, lotus lakes on river islands. They even travel to seashores shining with gold and pearls. From Himalayan bowers to the banks of Manasarova, she uses her speed of mind to show him the absolute wonders of the world, trying every single day to make him happy. It's just a stunning visual sequence, straight out of an ancient fantasy. Which leads us to Section 4, the pot-headed hero. Eventually, Hidimva conceives, and this kicks off a rapid-fire sequence that completely defies all human biology.
Because in the biology of the Rakshasas, everything happens at light speed. Look at this timeline. They conceive in the morning, and by noon on the exact same day, the child is born. But wait, it doesn't stop there. By the afternoon, this little newborn immediately grows into a full youth, and by evening, he acquires high proficiency in the use of all weapons. It is an incredibly compressed timeline that hilariously illustrates just how utterly alien and powerful this new species is compared to normal humans.
And man, what a warrior he was. The physical traits are wild. He had copper lips, sharp teeth, and straight arrowy ears. And my personal favorite detail, he possessed frightfully swelling calves, which the text uses to point out his excessive strength and sheer speed. The text actually explicitly notes that despite being born of a human father, there was absolutely nothing human in his countenance. He was a creature of immense prowess, easily excelling all other kindred tribes and Rakshasas in raw strength.
But here is where it gets kind of funny. Despite being this terrifying superhuman giant who masters weapons on day one, we get this wonderfully relatable touch of humor from the text. Soon after his birth, the boy bows and touches the feet of his parents, and when it comes time to name this frightening weapon of a child, what do they go with? Ghatotkacha, which literally translates to pot-headed. Yep, his mother noticed he was born completely bald, and his head looked exactly like a gata, a water pot. So, pot-headed. It's a surprisingly goofy, literal name for someone so fearsome, showing a really endearing, grounded moment between the parents. And from then on, Ghatotkacha becomes fiercely devoted to the Pandavas.
Now let's look at the bigger picture in Section 5, a weapon for destiny. So the contract was fulfilled. Hidimva knew the exact period of her stay had ended with the birth of her son. And you know what? She doesn't cling, she doesn't beg, she salutes the Pandavas, makes a new appointment, and respectfully goes her own way. She completely honors the boundary. Meanwhile, her fiercely loyal son, Ghatotkacha, salutes his father, heads north, and makes a solemn promise. He will come whenever he is wanted on business. If they call, he will answer.
Now, if you're sitting there thinking this was just a strange little side quest in the forest, the source text drops a massive bombshell. It was the illustrious Indra who created Ghatotkacha as a fit antagonist of Karna. Let that sink in. This entire romance, the desperate survival tactics, the pot-headed baby, none of it was random, not a single bit. It was a massive, divine chess move orchestrated by Indra himself, the king of the gods.
Let's connect the dots here on Ghatotkacha's true purpose. Ghatotkacha literally carries a portion of Indra's energy. He was specifically designed, bred for one single ultimate purpose, to fight the unrivaled warrior, Karna. See, Karna possessed an infallible, fatal dart given to him by Indra, a weapon guaranteed to kill anyone it was hurled against. So by orchestrating the birth of this mighty Rakshasa, Indra ensured the Pandavas had a disposable, yet incredibly powerful counterweapon. Ghatotkacha was literally destined to absorb that fatal dart, saving the main heroes in a future epic war.
Which leaves us with this final, profound question to ponder. Was the union of Bhima and Hidimva just a pragmatic, heat-of-the-moment survival tactic by mortals in distress? Or was every single step of it the invisible hand of destiny, coldly preparing a living weapon for the ultimate war? It is a brilliant blend of human agency and divine fate that makes this text so utterly captivating. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive. I really hope this explainer has left you marveling at the deep layers of strategy hidden in these ancient stories. Until next time, keep questioning and keep exploring.